5 units. But I'm sure you'll work out how to do that. So when you want to move the machine, put your foot behind the machine, lift it up, get the balance, and then you can move it from one place to another. When you want to put the machine down, instead of just letting go of the handle and damaging the end of the machine, put your foot behind it and gently lower to the floor. You have a disc here, you pull that disc out, and the wheel comes up. Really simple, okay? This bar here has to go underneath the casters here and here.
Yeah.
So hold it. So drop your handle down, put the bar underneath, sit the machine just the other side of that bar, then you have a U gap,
Yeah.
you have the arm, bring it up.
Ah.
Okay? So take off, pull it out. So when you pull this out, there's a little catch. That releases it, yeah? The wheels. So there's a front and back to the machine. The front of the machine's got Rotowash in black. You've got the curved handle at the back. So whenever you're dealing with the machine, you stand where I'm standing. If you simply want to move it over to the chair, you don't want to put it on the wheels. The wheels are for long distance. So you put both hands on the handle, lift the handle up, bring the handle back towards you, and the brushes stay off the floor. And then you can move the machine quite easily. So when you lift that handle up, if you watch this area, and as I bring it back, I keep pulling up. So I don't allow the handle to drop back down, and that will keep the brushes off the floor to move it on the casters that are underneath the machine. On the left side, you have a block, and that block prevents the handle from falling back. So to turn the machine on, you lift this leg over that block. So from that position, and if you look at the handle is leaning slightly forward. From that position, just rock it. The click turns it on, turns it on. If you watch the base of the machine goes down. Now the brushes are on the floor and it's scrubbing the floor. But if I want to move it, I'm going to struggle because the brushes are on the floor. So I bring the handle back up, the base of the machine comes off the floor into its parked position, and then I lift both sides up for the transport position. So parked, turn on, over to your right and back to transport both sides.
I think that we should do a try for one.
Yeah, you will all have a go. Yeah, all have a go. So water goes into the tank. So on your old machine that you had here many years ago, the water went in here. It only goes in here, so it doesn't go into that tray. So this tank holds about 7 litres of water. 7 litres would do a really large area, but when you think of 7 litres, it's a full bucket of water. So if you put a full bucket of water in there, it's really heavy. But also at the end, you're going to have to empty it because there'll be too much water in there. So if you don't need the water, don't put the water in. Only put in half a tank. So half a tank is about 3-4 litres of water. So think of your Coke bottles, that sort of amount, 1.5 of those. So that goes into there, through the lid. There's a filter, so make sure that there's only clean water going through there, there's not any bits and sand or whatever. The paddle at the top puts the water down. So when I press the paddle, that releases the water from here, it goes down the hose, onto the front brush, and as the front brush rotates, that's what puts the water onto the floor. So if this was a carpet, and we'll have a little play on the carpets in reception, you need maximum water. So you press the paddle all the time as you go forward, you release, stops the water, and then you bring it back over exactly the same area, and that will suck the water out of the carpet. So, pull, release, bring back. That's all you do. On the hard floor, if we press the paddle all the time, there'll be too much water on the floor and you'll start to flood. So it'll be just too much water. So when you press the paddle, you press and release. press, release. And again, bring it back over the same area to suck the water off the floor. This is a trip switch and an emergency stop button, which I'll show you later. This is a brush wear indicator that tells you how much life you have left in the brushes. So each machine will come with a spare set of brushes. So in the machine you have a black set, and it's the core that's black, these are red. So you can say, well, we'll use these in the bathrooms, and we'll use these elsewhere, or we'll use these in rooms with incontinence, and we'll use the black set elsewhere, or we'll use these for COVID, and the black elsewhere. So it's entirely up to you. I don't know the situation in your home. To check the bristles, you feed that in. If you see black, you're okay. If you start to see orange, it's time for a new set of brushes. If you get as far as the white, you need a new set of brushes. But there's also an indicator on the side. So when the bristles go down to the top of the blue, again it's time for a new set of brushes. And you can get the brushes from the telephone number on the front of the machine there. Here you have a height control knob. So you have an indicator above the dial, you have a heavy weight and a light weight, and that dial turns around. So the heavyweight setting is for a short piled carpet and a hard floor. I would suggest that you have short piled carpets and hard floors. You don't have deep piled carpets. So that's the correct setting, okay? So everything I've said so far is in this little booklet, and you can have a look through, and it's all there. You know, this bit, it's all in the leaflet there. So what I'm going to talk about now is this. So this is a laminated sheet, and this tells you how to clean the machine. So this is really, really important, particularly at the moment. You know, when you're mopping this area, when you finish mopping, you take your dirty mop bucket and your dirty mop, you take it to the cleaning cupboard, you put it on the floor, and you think, I'm not going to clean that because I'm going to use it tomorrow, and I'm also going to use it the day after, so I'm not going to bother cleaning it. You wouldn't do that. You'd clean the mop bucket and you clean the mop. Exactly the same. If you use it, you clean it. Particularly in this world of COVID, where you know you could be spreading things around the home. But also, if you take this machine into a room where incontinence is an issue, then there's going to be urine on the brushes and feces on the brushes. And then you bring it into here, the dining room, you're going to bring it into here. So it doesn't work. But also, if you don't clean the machine will break. So there's two things: longevity of the machine and also infection control, which is really, really important. And the infection control is for your residents, but it's also for you guys, because you're going to be using the machine, so it's important. So everything I'm going to say is on here. So at the back of the machine, you have the tray. This is where all the dirty water is going to go into. So you can take it out, you empty, lift the lid, you rinse it underneath the tap, you clean the underside. The caution relates to the blade, so just be careful of the blade and go that way and never across the blade. That blade goes underneath the springs here, like so. Where the blade hits the blue drum, you will always get a line of fluff and hair and dirt. So just roll the brush backwards, the blue drum rolls down, and you can clean the blue drum. There's a hole here, there's a hole the other side. Just push and pull. Spindle comes out, the brush comes out. Take the brush to the hot tap, allow the hot water to hit the brush halfway, rotate until clean water comes out, rotate until clean water comes out, and then the brush goes into an empty bucket. Where the machine gets dirty is here, 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 so just wipe the machine down. Front of the machine, you have this tray, lift this up, you can disconnect it, clean the underside, put it to one side, push, pull, brush out, hot tap, into a bucket, clean, just wipe it all down. If you're worried about where you've been, so if you've gone to that room where there's a few issues, maybe the elderly resident has an upset stomach and there's diarrhea, all sorts of things, get your sanitizer sprays and just spray the machine. Make sure you kill everything on there.
Can I go over there for a second?
Also, if you're concerned about the brushes, and if you feel that the brushes need a little bit of extra care, just put them into a bucket of water with some of your chemical and disinfect the brushes overnight. If you do that, take it out the next day, rinse underneath the tap and give them a good flick, get all the excess water out of the brush before you put them back in. But normally, that's how you would leave the machine. So tomorrow, when you come to use the machine, if the brushes are in the machine, you know the last person didn't clean the machine down. If the brushes are in the bucket, you know it's clean, you can see it's clean, and you can use it. So to put the brushes back in, can you see okay? Can you see okay now? Yeah. You have brush guides here and here, so here and here, and the brush just sits on the brush guide.